middle. Up. All right, I am still down here in Florida. This was the big kickoff week for the Personal Defense Network Tour 2013. It has been a great week. We've had a couple classes that were officially part of the tour, 2 combat-focused shooting classes and 1 introduction to combat-focused shooting class at the Gander Mountain Academy in Lake Mary. We also had a school attacker response course that we slipped in on an open day over Easter weekend. We had 15 people in the room for that. That was an instructor development course, so we certified some new instructors to help make teachers and students safer inside of worst-case scenarios during schools. And we're going to take a look at an important thing that you need to know about how to deal with practicing and developing your skills over time. It's called front-loading your practice, and it's something that was brought up in a question during a debrief at one of our first classes. The tour is just getting started. I'm headed up to Georgia for the second week of the tour. We're going to continue up the East Coast. If you haven't already checked the schedule, see if there's an open slot that you can join us on the 2013 Personal Defense Network Training Tour.
If someone is really interested, because most of this stuff is what I would call perishable skills. If you don't do something to keep them going, you're going to lose it. And we're often told when we're learning something as intricate as what we're doing today, you want to be applying or working on this again fairly soon.
Yep.
So my question is, in order to maintain skills, what do you have anything that you consider as a minimum for regular training?
So everyone has a limited amount of time, limited amount of budget, limited amount of interest, right? Maybe access to a range. We talk about range access. So everybody's got limited training resources to spend on training. So direct answer to is there a minimum? No. It would be facetious for me to say you have to do this. It's not. I can't dictate to you that you must train a certain amount of time. There's plenty of people who've never trained at all and have successfully defended themselves with guns, right? The idea that there's a minimum isn't real, but what we do have is a recommendation for how you spend your resources. All right, so there's a strong recommendation for how you spend your resources. So imagine that you've got, these, whatever this is, 6 or 7 training sessions. This is called front-loading your practice. All right, front-loading your practice. What we know is that when you've learned something new, these perishable skills, as Harry said, when you learn something new, you don't want to wait a long time before you practice them, right? You want to get some practice and refresher for your brain and for your body close to when you actually learned it. So that's what we call front-loading your practice. You just learned a whole bunch of things. Don't wait 6 months to go out and practice. Don't go take another course every month for the next 6 months, learning new, and then decide in August you're going to practice. You're going to have a practice month in August. It's not going to work. You will have lost all of this, and you will essentially be relearning it if you wait a long time. So you go out to the range in session 1, and you learn the first thing, right? You learn this first thing, whatever it was. When you go back out to the range next time, don't try to learn something else new. Just practice that. All right, practice thing number 1. You go out to the range the 3rd session, and this could be once per week, once per month, once per quarter, whatever your expenditure of training time and sessions are. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to learn a new thing, but I'm still practicing that first thing. So I've learned thing 2, but I'm still practicing thing 1. I go back out to the range, I'm going to practice thing 2, and maybe I'm ready to evaluate my ability to apply thing number 1, something like a figure 8 drill. We call it the evaluation of your ability to apply those skills you've been practicing. So I evaluate thing number 1, and I find myself good to go. I'm happy, right? Like some of you guys on the figure 8 drill found some things you weren't happy with, so you came back out and you worked on them. But some things you were happy with, so you didn't focus on them as much. You were okay in some areas. So let's say that you're okay in thing 1. We go back out the next time and we're going to learn thing 3. We're still practicing thing 2. The next time we go out, we're just going to practice 3, practice 2, and then the next time we're going to evaluate thing number 2. We've had several practice sessions with it, and we're going to practice thing number 3 because we just learned it not too long ago. And you know what? As a refresher, it's been a while. Let's practice thing 1 again too, just to make sure that we still got that locked down. right? So thing one, we learned, we practiced right away, we evaluated, then we skipped it for a while, and then we threw it back in a couple sessions, few sessions later. So that model is called front-loading your practice, and that's what we recommend as far as how to follow up now. What do you do with this stuff? Don't let it just sit there on the shelf for months and months and months. As you practice it, make up a thing. If you practice it once every 2 weeks for the next month and a half, once a month for the 3 months after that, once a quarter for the year after that, and then a couple times a year for the rest of your life, that's the path to owning the skills. As opposed to, we have to practice once a week. I don't even know what that means. Some weeks you can't practice. Some people don't have the money, the time, the interest, the range access, whatever. So this is how you should spend your resources once you've learned something you want to keep.